you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to All Baddies Got a Story. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you are alerted when I go live. And I guess when I upload any other content. I'm not sure if it alerts you when I upload other content. It's supposed to alert you when I go live. And if you're not getting the notifications, like people told me, just hit the notification bell again and then hit it again. And it should clear it up. I guess sometimes there's some technical, how do you say it? Technological, child, I'm messing that word all the way up. Y'all know what I mean, right? Okay, difficulties. I don't know why I can't say that word. Technological difficulties. Oh my God, I never had that hard of a time saying that word. And also check out my other featured channels on this page, like my artistry channel at that girl Shanda. I also have my podcast, All Baddies Got a Story podcast, a few episodes on this channel as well. Check it out. If you like what you hear, click the link in the profile and subscribe to the pod. Check out all my other links that lead to other social media sites with other content that I provide. So I got off work not too long ago, y'all. It's been really, really, really windy. And apparently there are some fires going on and the wind is kicking it up. You know what's crazy, y'all? It's not hot outside or anything, right? It's actually pretty cool, right? Hence the wind, right? So it's always interesting when like fires are set ablaze out of nowhere. And people are really saying like, oh, you know, when it gets really windy, the fires set. And it's like, but it's cool outside. And then it's been determined many times that there are people that have been setting fires. And they specifically do it when it's windy so that the shit catches and spreads. I don't know why people always think that fires just catch on their own. You know, a lot of times people set those fires for whatever the reasons they do it. But, you know, we know the county will shut everything down. The county will definitely shut everything down. Hold on real quick. I'm going to read something really quick. Ciao. Hi. So I had an interesting conversation. I don't even know if you would call it a conversation, but I had an interesting back and forth is what I will call it, with the ex-spouse's current spouse. As far as I know, that's the current spouse anyway. And the only reason why I had a back and forth with the ex's current spouse is because I unblocked the number, right, in order to reach out to see if I can get any kind of answers about my kids, right? Now, originally, I blocked the ex's spouse phone number the first time, you know, the person ever reached out to me to send me like a harassing message on behalf of the ex, right? So because I felt like it was none of that person's business, I felt like that person shouldn't be meddling at all into any affairs with regards to my kids, Winter and Laker, and any affairs, period, with regards to the ex, right? And so when the ex's current spouse sent me the first text message, I just blocked the number. Now, I don't know how y'all would handle that situation if y'all were in my shoes, right? So basically going through a dismantling of a civil union agreement. It wasn't a marriage license, but it was a civil union agreement. So going through the courts, dismantling the civil union agreement, you know, doing the whole child custody thing. And you're thinking it's going to be amicable where, you know, two parents can be mature enough to co-parent kids and stuff, right? So, and then like this person that was already married to someone else and had like 8 kids, right? Steps into your you know, relationship and starts to dictate to your ex, I guess how things are supposed to go and what things should happen and what's supposed to transpire with my kids, my biological kids at that, right? And so the last time I saw the ex's spouse, I was told that, oh, I'm just trying to be a friend. I'm just trying to be a friend, right? Um, but clearly it turned out the person was trying to be more than that, right? Even though the person was married, because now she's the current spouse, right? But that's neither here or there. I told her I was ecstatic when they got together. You know what I'm saying? You know. Um, and I thought that, all of her kids would have made my ex happy, like being a family with all the kids and everything. But I guess that wasn't enough. My kids they had to come for my kids. So anyway, I unblocked the number because I wasn't getting anywhere with contacting the ex. I wasn't getting anywhere with contacting the ex's sisters. I wasn't getting anywhere with contacting the ex's mother and stepfather. And it's a whole story behind that, right? Having spoken to the ex's mother and stepfather since the poisoning of my daughter, they kind of just hid from me. Didn't answer any emails, didn't answer any phone calls, didn't answer anything, right? And I damn sure didn't want to see them, so I wasn't going to see them, right? But I did expect some type of reach out to explain what the fuck was going on, right? But there was no explanation ever. It was just hiding since the incident. And so I also recently reached out to the ex's grandmother. Now, I kind of draw the line when it comes to elders, y'all, because I feel like when elders, I just feel I respect elders, right? And I feel like you shouldn't involve elderly people, right? Because of their conditions with their hearts and just their body and everything. Like they're older, and older people can't take a lot of things that younger people can take, right? So, you just kind of, well, for me personally, I always think about it before I decide to reach out to an elder and kind of tell them the issues that's been going on, because I definitely don't like to burden older people. And I actually put that into consideration when I reached out to my ex-sister-in-law's current husband's family. I just contacted the ex-sister-in-law's current husband, his best friend, her best friend. I contacted, just like via text message and stuff. No, and I called and left voicemails too. And so I also had the ex-sister-in-law's current husband's grandparents' phone number, right? And I was going to reach out to them too, but I decided against it because they're elders, right? And I just have a soft spot for older people, and I don't like to drag them in the middle of stuff, which is one of the reasons why I never contacted my ex's grandmother, even though I know her pretty well. But recently I did, because I said, okay, well, if I'm not getting anywhere through all these channels that I've been trying to get through to for so long, and I'm not getting anywhere, justice system and things like that, then let me just reach out to the grandmother and see if there is something that she knows. If she can at least tell me if my kids are alive and well, if she can at least tell me if her granddaughter is alive and alive or locked up or whatever, I don't know, right? And so after I left a message with the ex's grandmother on her voicemail, I unblocked the ex's current spouse's number, right? Because as much as I didn't want to reach out to the ex's current spouse, I felt it was necessary, because that was the only person that was communicating with me, even though I wasn't communicating with her, right? So, like I said, after the first text message about my situation with the ex and my kids and all that stuff, I completely blocked the ex's current spouse, because I felt like it was no business of that person, that individual, right, to be meddling into my business. And then not too long ago, I saw 15 messages that was sent to me by the ex's current spouse via text message that I never saw because the number was blocked, right? But I read through them, and I even posted some of them on my community tab. So if you guys scroll on my community tab, you'll actually be able to see those text messages where the whole time the ex's current spouse was just calling me out my name. Never called this person out their name, never talked to them in depth, never, none of that. You know what I mean? But it's interesting because the recent text messages, it's because I called first, and I was hung up on by the ex's current spouse, right? So because the ex's current spouse hung up on me, I sent text messages, right? And in one of my text messages, I said, I just would really like it if I could, talk to a mature person. Like, I really would like it if, I could find a mature grown-up that can actually hold a conversation about my kids that are being hidden from me, right? I said, it just seems so hard to have a conversation with a mature adult on that end, because no one seems to be acting mature. So then the ex's spouse texted me back and said, oh, I don't want to be in the middle of your shit. You keep trying to put me in the middle of your shit, right? And I thought that was interesting because the whole time, all of those text messages from the past that are currently on my community tab, the whole time the ex's spouse was putting herself in my shit. And the ex wasn't saying anything. It was almost like the ex's current spouse was the ex's mouthpiece for the ex, because the ex remained completely silent, right? And the ex is the one that I should be talking to, because that's the one that I was in the relationship with, right? For all the years that I was in the relationship with, right? That produced me having my biological kids, Winter and Laker, which the ex's current spouse told me in a recent text message that I was just a surrogate and that I was paid for my services. This is what I'm not understanding, y'all. And maybe y'all can help me out. Because I even asked the ex's current spouse this in a text message. I said, why are you so angry with me? I don't even know you like that. And what I speak is facts, y'all, because I can actually post a text message with me saying those very words. Why are you so angry with me? I don't even know you like that. I said, I understand you being in a relationship with somebody and, you listening to their side of the story and all of that stuff, and you just kind of defending them because that's the current person that you're in a relationship with. All that's understandable. But you don't know the other sides of the story. You were not in my, how long was the relationship? You were not in my entire relationship. My relationship with the ex predates back to 2002, when we met in college, right? Marriage or civil union took place in 2009, right? So from 2002, first meeting, graduating college in 2004, 2005, civil union took place in 2009. Kids came 2017 via me, right? I got pregnant. And then the separation happened in June of 2019. The final separation where we went to separate residences occurred December of 2019, right? So I was by December 9th of 2019, I was in my own home with my kids, because I always had the kids the majority of the times anyway, because I always took care of the kids. And the ex was at a friend's house or something like that. Now, somewhere in 2020, the ex's current spouse came into the picture. But I could be wrong, y'all. I could be wrong. The ex's current spouse probably was in the picture way before that, right? Now, mind you, the ex's current spouse was married. Okay, was married with like 8 kids. I think she got like 8 kids. So, I think she was in the picture before that. But of course, how would I know that, right? But the ex did admit to infidelity within our relationship, right? Before we completely separated, which brought about the separation in the household. Okay, after the full admitting of the infidelities and admitting that, the ex admitting to me that, oh, I owe you so much. I owe you so much. I'm gonna do better and I'm gonna be better. You know how motherfuckers who say what they feel will appease in the moment and then go back to doing exactly what they've been doing. So basically, that's what that was, right? It was just admitting to wrongdoing, admitting that, oh, I owe you so much, and promising to be better, right? Ciao. After that conversation, that's when the separation within the home happened. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So back to the ex's current spouse, who seems to just be the mouthpiece for the ex, because the ex, like I said, is just hiding my kids, completely silent, not saying anything. I mean, so much so, y'all, I started believing that maybe that the ex was dead or, locked up or something. But I recently checked like jail records and stuff like that. So I didn't see the ex's name under any jail or anything like that. But, I only check certain areas. So, I don't know. But it's that bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's to the point where like I'm not understanding what this is all about. I said to the ex's current spouse in a recent text message, I said, now when people are happy in their current relationship, right? When a person has moved on and they are happy and living their life and living it with who they want to live it with and all that stuff, people don't tend to still hold grudges. You know what I mean? People don't tend to still want to take digs at former spouses. People don't tend to want to try to continue to make former spouses' lives a living hell, right? Unless you're really not happy where you are. Unless, the person that you're with is really not making you happy, or you're just not happy, right? Because there is no reason why, after all this time, that two people have been broken apart, divorced, all that stuff, right? That you should be using my biological kids as pawns to continue to hurt me and to hurt my kids. It doesn't make any sense at all. At all. Now, I understand a female not being able to produce their own kids, and which is, an issue that the ex has, right? I understand females not being able to produce their own kids, and maybe, you feel like, okay, well, I'm just going to steal these kids because I can't have my own or whatever, you know what I mean? But even that's wrong. And the fact that the ex's spouse told me in a current text message that I was just a surrogate and that I was paid for my services, that talk right there will have a motherfucker fucked up. Like, if she was in my face saying that to my face, I would have dropped her where she stood. And if you watching me, because I know you watch me, you stalk me and follow me and all of that. And the only reason why I know that is because the ex's current spouse told me that she bought my album that I created, and then told me I can't sing and she want a refund back and all of that stuff, right? But I found it interesting that you even took the time out to look me up and research and find me and all. That's stalking. That's stalking. to be able to purchase an album that I created. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate your purchase. That text message is also on my community tab, showing the ex's current spouse, proving that she was stalking me and admitting to buying my album, to which she asked for a refund. But anyway, the current text message from the ex's current spouse says she don't want to be in the middle of it, and I keep putting her in the middle of it. I don't understand how that's even possible if I blocked the person after the very first harassing text message that was sent to me, to which 15 more text messages were sent to me that I never even seen until most recently, a couple months ago, when I found myself in a part of my phone that I never knew existed. And I ran across all these blocked messages, and I said, well, what is this? Blocked messages? Oh, and I said, 15? I said, this person continued to text me after I blocked the first time. I said, I never responded. And she still sent all these text messages, and I continued to block. That sounds like somebody who is putting themselves in the middle of something. That sounds like somebody who is purposely initiating harassing messages. It's somebody who's purposely initiating conversation. It's like talking on behalf of other people who probably didn't even ask this person to speak on their behalf, speaking on behalf of the ex-sister-in-law, Stephanie, speaking on behalf of, grandparents and speaking on behalf of the ex-sister-in-law's husband. And that is somebody who is purposely putting themselves in the middle of something that has nothing to do with them. You have to have a lot of time on your hand. A lot. You have to have a lot of time on your hand to be that involved in somebody else's business that has nothing to do with you. My kids, Winter and Laker, those are my biological kids. I carried my babies. No, I was not a surrogate. No, I did not get paid for my services, Ellen Flowers, even though that's what you recited in that text message that, of course, I'll be posting on the community tab as well. Those are my babies that I carried and cared for and raised until they were ripped away from me and are continuing to be ripped away from me by an ex who is clearly still very bitter and unhappy and angry over a breakup that happened a while ago. I know you may not want to hear those words. I know you may not want to hear those words because it will make you feel like a beard, right? Or it may make you feel like, less than or whatever. I guess that's what beards are. They feel less than, right? They're like cover up for other shit. And I told you in a text message that I was ecstatic about y'all being together. Like I just wanted to get away from the toxicity. I wanted my kids away from the toxicity. I wanted to protect my kids from the harm that was being done to all of us, all three of us. Okay? And the fact that you can argue with me, Ellen Flowers, via text message about a situation that has nothing to do with you. I mean, you texting me like you the ex. You texting me like you was around ever since 2002. Like you know what has transpired and what has taken place since 2002. I didn't know you until 2017? I think I met you after I had my babies. And I know you were a coworker of the ex and all that stuff, and you got fired or whatever because you were threatening to beat somebody up or smash somebody's face into something. The ex told me the story. You threatened to fuck somebody up or something like that. But yeah, I remember you were invited to my kid's first birthday party, to which you came with your spouse that you were married to, and all of your kids. I think it was 8 kids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was like 6 or something, 6 to 8 kids that you got. I remember. And so, yeah. So you came in the picture, as far as I'm concerned, with me anyway, not with DX, with me, after I had my kids. And that was in 2017. And you came to the first birthday party in 2018. So you have to understand why I'm having such a hard time understanding why you keep interjecting yourself into a situation that has nothing to do with you. My kids that you keep calling your kids, I don't know why you want my kids to be your kids so bad. You got 8 kids of your own. Why do you keep trying to steal my kids? So is it you, Ellen, that's trying to steal my kids, or is it the ex? I'm trying to understand. Is the ex going along with what you're telling the ex to go along with? Because it sounds like you the mouthpiece. It sounds like you're the mouthpiece, and that you are steering the ex in different directions, and what should be done and what should be said. And it's very, very strange. And if that is the case, the ex has no backbone. The ex has no backbone. The ex is acting like a coward. The ex is acting like a total punk. If you can allow somebody else to speak for you, because you know that you are so dead wrong. You are so dead wrong. And you also know that I have never done anything to hurt you or to hurt your family. All of the toxicity and the hurt came from you, and it came from your family. And you know that. You know how you know that? Because you have a written testimony written by you, signed and dated by you, against your own parents, which I so kindly uploaded to my community tab on this channel here, All Baddies Got a Story, along with other evidence that was never taken into consideration because I no longer had an attorney. You got your current spouse, talking to the ex now, you got your current spouse being your mouthpiece because you too much of a bitch to talk for yourself. So you would rather just be behind the scenes in the shadow hiding my babies, my biological kids, Winter and Laker, whom I hope are alive and very well. You would rather be in the shadows and let somebody speak for you? I should have known that you didn't have a backbone, because there were times when your mother would come to me and like she would just be angry. And I'm like, why are you so angry? What is the problem? Oh, well, my daughter said that you said this and you said that and you did this and you said that. And I would just bust into laughter. And I would say, actually, no, I did not say that. That's something, those words came out of your daughter's mouth. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And I would say that in front of you, in front of your mother and in front of you, to which your mother would look at you in shock because she couldn't believe that you lied to her. So whenever you wanted to stick it to your mama, you know, you would use me. You would use me, even though it really wasn't me, to cover up for how you really felt. Like, you would play us against each other. There was a lot of that going on, though, you know. But, you know, I understand there's some deep-rooted mother-daughter wounds that was going on between you and your mama, especially that day, February 22nd, 2019, the day she poisoned my daughter, when you guys were having a screaming match while my babies were upstairs in the crib trying to still wake up because it was early in the morning, having a screaming match to which your mother said to you, I don't give a fuck about you. You are dead to me. I have 2 other daughters. And then you cursing back at your mother, and your mother saying, I'm going to go see my grandkids. And then you yelled back in her face, you ain't got no fucking grandkids. To which after that, she knocked you to the floor. You got on the phone to call the cops because she knocked you down or harassed you, whatever you want to call it, assaulted you, whatever you, because she assaulted you when she poured a hot coffee on you in order to barge into the front door. So, that was, But after you spoke those words, you ain't got no fucking grandkids, that's when she poisoned my daughter. That's when she poisoned my daughter while her husband stood in the doorway watching. And I find it funny that your current spouse, the one that I've been conversing with via text message, who claims that she knows the whole story and claims that she knows what's going on, even though she does not. I'm so tired of talking about this. I'm tired of reliving it. I'm tired of it. And I know this was the plan, right? The plan was to keep me on a string like a puppet, right? To have me dangling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? To try to drive me crazy or drive me, up the wall. I know this was your master plan, talking to the ex now. I know this was the master plan. You wanted to keep me in a certain position, right? Where you felt that you had the control and the upper hand, which is what you always wanted anyway, which is what you always liked, right? So, and so it's probably disappointing to you that, I'm not insane and I'm not in a mental ward or anything like that. It's probably disappointing to you that, worse hasn't been done to me. It's probably disappointing to you that I look so good. Because I remember your mama telling me a few years back that she couldn't wait for me to get bags, heavy, heavy bags and dark circles under my eyes. This is what your mama said to me, Brenda Marie Flim. She just looked at me and said, I can't wait for you to get really big bags and dark circles under your eyes, because that's what she has. So I guess she wanted me to feel like her. But a lot of times, miserable people do want you to be miserable with them. Hurt people hurt people. You heard that saying? So the fact that you are still hurt, me talking to the ex, the fact that you are still so hurt after all this time of not being together, you're in a whole other relationship that you were in probably before we even broke up. You're supposed to be happy and booed up and loved up and all of that wonderful stuff with all of the kids. All of the kids. You are supposed to be happy, right? Because what happy people do, right? Content people, unconditionally loving people, which I know you're not that at all because you don't even love yourself. But what happy people do is they're able to amicably communicate with other people. They are able to, hold a conversation and be mature and grown up about issues, right? Without screaming at the top of your lungs where nobody can get a word in edgewise, right? Mature adults talk, communicate. Mature adults put kids before themselves. That's what mature adults do. They think about the well-being of the kids before they think about themselves. And the fact that you are thinking about yourself before you are thinking about the kids proves 1000% that you don't love my kids. You don't unconditionally love them. Maybe you have love for them, whatever love that you know to be love, but you don't unconditionally love them. Because if you did, we wouldn't be here right now. I am never letting this go. So you can tell me this, I'm still speaking to the ex. You can tell your current spouse that she can stop calling me a surrogate and saying that I was paid for my services and continuing to try to claim my kids, Winter and Laker, that I carried and birthed into this world and took care of until they were ripped from me. You can stop. Do she want to be me? It almost feels like she wants to be me. Oh, I'm really thinking about it, y'all. Like, it's really kind of hitting me. Like, did you want my life? Because I remember, like, when you walked into my house, not my first house because I didn't know you then. When you walked into my second house that we had just built from the ground up, when you walked into my home, you were just like impressed, shocked, impressed, in awe. You know, like it was almost like, you know, I mean, I didn't look at it as that way. I mean, I never minded sharing my space and, you know, welcoming people into my home and things like that. But I remember you specifically, Ellen, when you came in with your current partner, or, you know, who you were married to at the time, and all your kids. I think it was after my kids' first birthday party, and we came back to my house and had a little powwow after or whatever. And you guys came back or whatever to the house because we had we rented out the community center for my kids' first birthday. And so y'all were over there. But yeah, you came into the house and you looked around and you were just impressed, and, you know, eyes got big and everything. And then I remember you saying that you get real enraged when you don't have meat. I don't know why that specifically stuck with me, Ellen, but I specifically remember you saying that you get enraged when you don't have meat to eat. I don't know why that stuck with me. I just thought it was interesting. You know why it stuck with me? Because I never heard a person say that they become enraged when they don't have meat to eat, and that they, you know, don't talk to me. If I don't have no meat to eat, I get real angry. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. Because that stuck with me. And I know you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so, I mean, I don't know, maybe you just wanted my life or something, or maybe you want to be me, or, I mean, you could never be me, clearly. But the whole trying to, the whole continuing to claim my kids as yours, my kids, they're not your kids, you were a surrogate, you were paid for your services. It's almost, and then you constantly arguing with me like I know you like that. Normally, I don't waste my time on motherfuckers I don't know like that. But because you are the ex's spouse and you were the one that was, reaching out to me, yeah, they were harassing messages and stuff. But because you were the one reaching out to me and all of that stuff, that was the only reason why I decided to go ahead and recently contact you. That was the only reason why. And I asked you like 5 or 6 times via text message, are my kids alive and well? Are Winter and Laker alive and well? Are Winter and Laker alive and well? You would never answer that question. You said all my kids are doing well. And I said, I didn't ask you about all your kids, because I know you got between 6 and 8. I said, I didn't ask you about all your kids. I was asking about my kids, Winter and Laker, that I carried and gave birth to. That's what I was asking about. But you refused to answer the question if my kids are alive and well. I don't know why. I asked you several times. The last text message I sent you, I asked, and you still didn't respond. You still didn't respond. So I politely asked you, Ellen, if you can ask the ex to reach out to me, to give me a call, something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only concerned with my kids. I am only concerned with my kids. And I told you that via text message. I said, I'm happy y'all got each other. Clearly, you deserve each other. Clearly. I'm happy you found each other. I have no qualms at all. My only concern is that of those kids. And I spoke those same words to the ex, and it pissed the ex off because I said, I am only concerned about my kids. That is my only concern. We don't have to talk like that. We don't have to, you know what I mean? Because I know how to communicate. I know how to be mature. I know how to put the kids' best interest at heart to the forefront, which is why not Facebook, what was it called? The Skyping and the phone calls and all of that stuff, that never stopped with me when the kids were in my care. That never stopped with me. There were people that told me not to do it. Fuck her. Fuck it. Don't text. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do Skype. Don't do phone calls. Don't do it. And I said, but that's the other parent. And if I was in that other parent's shoes, I know how I would feel if it was done to me. I said, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I actually went behind my mother's back. And did it. Because my mother was one of the main people that was like, don't do it. F it. F all of that. Right? But I didn't do that because I didn't think that was fair. So to be in a position where the ex's current spouse is texting me and telling me that my family and friends don't believe me or think I'm crazy and stuff like that. And I said, well, you say it as if you know them. You say it as if you're talking to them. Of course, no response came from that. But that's kind of personal to say that. The ex's current spouse said that about my family and friends. First of all, how do you know? What friends? What friends of mine do you know? This goes back, y'all, to my previous question. I don't know the ex's current spouse like that. Why is the ex's current spouse interjecting herself in my business? I have never said to the ex's current spouse anything about her family and her friends, and I've never said anything to the ex's current spouse about her kids, and I don't inquire about the ex's current spouse. I don't care. I don't know you. Why do you care so much about me? And why do you want to claim my kids so bad? I find that very strange. Very, very strange. I find that very strange. So if anybody out there has a similar situation and can relate to everything that I'm going through, that I've been going through in regards to having my kids hidden from me, in regards to, an ex just completely just gone. Like, but the ex's current spouse is the mouthpiece. And of course, you're not going to get anywhere with the ex's current spouse. You don't know that person like that. So if you don't know the person like that, that person don't give a fuck about you. Your feelings don't care. That person wanted your life. I don't know the ex's current spouse like that. I only know of her coming to my kid's birthday party or events or whatever, coming into my home and clearly seeing what she wanted to be hers. That's fine. That's fine. My only concern is with my kids. I've moved on a long time ago. Long time ago. And let me be clear. It's never easy, right? Breakups aren't easy, y'all. Anybody who's been through a breakup, and that's a lot of people, right? Millions of people, right? Anybody who's been through a breakup know that breakups aren't easy. And most often than not, it's actually pretty hard for, it takes time, is my point, right? It takes time for you to move on. So it was a buildup over time. It wasn't like, it was, the cutoff was just like, oh, just cut off. It was a buildup of things over time. Okay. And the breaking point was the poisoning of my daughter, Winter. That was the breaking point for me. That was the breaking point for me, because everything that had happened to me in the past, stuff happening with me, even though it wasn't right, that's one thing. But when it starts to trickle down to your kids and to hurting your kids, that is quite another thing, right? That's quite another thing. So I just find it interesting that I'm still having this conversation. My only request would be for the ex to stop being a bitch. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. You're a bitch. And I'm not saying it in the sense of like, oh, you bitch. I'm saying it in the sense of you're a coward. You're a coward. You have no backbone. No backbone. And clearly I know that, right? Because I was the leader, right? But we're not going to get into all of that. I'll leave that alone. But you have no backbone. You are a total coward, Janae Brumby. You are a total coward. And the only reason that you have your mouthpiece speaking for you is because you know you are dead fucking wrong. And you know how good of a person I am. Alarms going off when I say that. You know how amazing I've been. You know how unconditionally loving and nurturing and supporting and all of those wonderful things that you never received from your mother. Yeah, I said it. Because your own sisters said the exact same thing, that they never received nurturing and specific guidance and unconditional love and support. And, your younger sister said that to me. My mother doesn't unconditionally love me. My mother doesn't know how to nurture. My mother doesn't know how to, So all those things that you never received, I'm pretty sure you received some of it from your grandma. But all that you never received, I gave it to you. I gave it to you. And when the relationship came to an end, you didn't want that part to come to an end. And it pissed you off that Winter and Laker would be getting what you were used to getting. And because you were no longer going to get it, you decided to hurt them. You decided to hurt me because you were hurt. But, it's interesting because People, this is what we need to learn, y'all. How do you expect to still be in good and receive certain things if you burn the bridges? Right? Now, in my eyes, the relationship was done, right? It was done. But that doesn't mean that people still couldn't be friends. It doesn't mean that, people couldn't still hang out. I mean, you got kids together. Clearly, you're going to hang around each other, or you're going to be around each other, especially if your relationship is a good one, right? If you can amicably co-parent and everybody gets along and everyone's cool, I mean, everything would be hunky-dory, right? But if you allow your selfishness and obsessiveness and your anger to take over you to the point where you start hurting everybody because you're hurt, then that is where the problem lies. Therein lies the problem. Okay? Like I said, breakups are not easy, and it's interesting because I remember my ex's attorney having a personal conversation with me. Soraya Vega. That's the ex's attorney, Soraya Vega. I remember her telling me that, when she broke up with her ex, that it wasn't easy, right? And, she said that her ex got over it faster than she did. And I think she was trying to say that I moved on faster than my ex. But like I said, it wasn't that I moved on faster. It's just that it was a buildup of the breakdown over time. You know what I'm saying? So the buildup of the breakdown over time, by the time it got to the point to completely separate, your mind is made up. You had already been through all of the phases that you had to go through. You've been through it. You've been through it. You went through it. You've been through it, right? And so by the time you got out of it, yeah, it may be a shock to the ex who didn't want it to end, right? But by that time, you had already gone through all of the stages and all of the phases, right? So it's not saying that it made it any easier, but you knew that the steps that you were taking to get out of it was the right thing for you to do, right? And it solidified it even more for me that it was the right thing for me to do to get out of the relationship. Listen up, y'all, because you can learn from this. All baddies got a story, right? You got to have experiences in order to be able to teach, right? We students, but we teachers too, right? What solidified it even more for me was when, after the ex admitted to the infidelities and said, oh, I owe you so much and I owe you everything, and oh, I want to be better and I want to do better, right? I remember because we were in our garage talking and the kids were upstairs in their crib sleep. And I said, you know what? I think we should separate. I think we should separate a little, separate and sleep in separate rooms. And the ex was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, I think we should sleep in separate rooms. I sleep in one room, you sleep in another room. I just feel like there should be some separation, right? And so the ex became really pissed that I said that I wanted to sleep in separate rooms. So what the ex did from that very moment, that same night, the kids were upstairs in the crib, sleep and everything, the ex packed a bag and left for 2 weeks straight. I kid you not. I kid you not. I wrote about this shit. I kid you not. The ex packed a bag and left for 2 weeks straight after I said that I did not want to sleep in the same room anymore. Where the ex went, I have no idea. The ex could have been with her current spouse right now. You know what I'm saying? The ex could have went to, I don't know. I don't know. Clearly the ex was already cheating, right? Because the ex spoke to me about fidelity and apologizing and saying that I'm owed everything and all this stuff, right? So clearly, if you were already cheating because you admitted to infidelity, clearly when you left for 2 weeks, that meant you had somewhere to go. That meant that your infidelities really wasn't over. That means that you were still very much in the act of it. And you could have been very much in the act of it with the person who you're with right now, even though that person was married too. I'm just saying, right? I'm just piecing the dots together. So anyway, the ex left for 2 weeks, right? And when the ex was gone for those 2 weeks, me and my babies, we continued to live our lives, follow our routine. We get up in the morning, I feed them. We go for our morning stroll around the neighborhood. So I get my exercise. They get their fresh air. We're picking lavender. I'm introducing them to different flowers in the park. We come back home, I undress them, I give them their snacks or breakfast or whatever it is I'm giving them. I sit them down so that they can watch their favorite cartoons while I start working on my candle site, checking it to see if I need to do any maintenance to my website, checking it to see if I needed to fulfill any candle orders, doing my newsletter, running my business basically, right? Which is Honey Child's candles, beeswax candles. So we went on with our life, right? And also in that 2 weeks, y'all, I started singing again. And what I mean by that is I had stopped singing. A lot of things that I used to do before I met the ex, I started to do again. So it was like bits and pieces of me. And I wrote about this shit. Bits and pieces of me that felt like it had disappeared came flying back at me like it had never left. And I had found this app. Somebody told me about this app called Smool or Smoole. I'm probably saying it wrong. Smule, right? It's a singing app, like a karaoke app, right? So somebody told me about this app. I went on there and it was like all these cover songs by these artists and you could go on there and sing and perform and stuff. Y'all, when I tell you, I sang my heart out and I just could not stop. I sang and I sang and I sang and I sang. And when I told my mother about it, she said, well, damn, you sang enough for 2 months, or you sang enough for 2 albums. I said, I can't stop singing. I don't know what's going on. I said, I haven't sung like this in years. But I started singing again. So my point is when you separate from a relationship that may not necessarily be the best for you anymore, when you separate from toxicity and negativity and when you separate from what no longer serves you, that's what I'll say. When you separate from what no longer serves you and you're in your own energetic field, you're in your own space and you're only worried about yourself, you're not worried about the ex, or you're not giving any energy over there, you're only giving energy to you. And clearly I was giving energy to my kids, right? But it was just us three. Stuff was just coming back to me like it had never left. And I sang my heart out. And if y'all go to my artistry page at that girl Shanda, and y'all see me with like a short haircut and I'm singing these cover songs by these artists, that's what it was. Woo! Confirmation, bitch. Fucking confirmation. That's what it was, y'all. And I even break down, like in my description box, I'm like, oh, this is what I was going through the pre-breakup, or this is when I was going through the separation and I couldn't stop singing and I just kept singing and I kept singing and I kept singing and all of that stuff. That's what those cover songs on my artistry page, those videos with me in a short haircut, that's when I was going through what I'm talking about right now. And you know it because I was in my home, in my office space. I have like this big owl picture behind me, but that was my office where I conducted all of my business for like my candle company and stuff like that. So that's when I was going through that, y'all. And in particular, this song that I sang by Aretha Franklin, Ain't No Way, like, I sang that song, I sang what I was going through. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's, y'all have no idea. And maybe some of y'all do. because maybe some of y'all have gone through a lot of what I've been through. Like I said, breakups are never easy, and we all go through bad breakups sometimes, right? But I just have testimony, video testimony to what I was going through. A lot of people don't have documentation of their breakups. A lot of people don't have documentation of what they were going through during the times they were going through it. But when my singing came back to me, it came back to me when the ex bounced for 2 weeks. And when the ex bounced for 2 weeks, the ex didn't call for 2 weeks. The ex didn't FaceTime. The ex didn't come to the house. The ex was gone for 2 weeks straight. Never once called in those 2 weeks to say, hey, how are the babies doing? How are those little babies doing? How are they? What are they learning today? Did they discover anything new today? Did they do anything different today? What did they discover today? Because, kids, they're little, they're always discovering stuff because they're growing, right? Never once in 2 weeks straight did the ex call and check on the kids. Forget me. Forget me. You don't have to call and check on me. Forget me. But you never once called and checked on those babies, those precious babies. Winter and Laker, those twins. My twinsies. And you supposed to expect me to believe that you unconditionally love them when what you are doing right now is continuously hurting them because you still hurt? Oh no, you got to come out of that, boo. You got to heal from that shit because you hurting kids because you still busted up over something that happened a long time ago, and you have a mouthpiece who don't know shit about this speaking for you because you too much of a bitch to speak for yourself. You can make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. I ain't lying about shit. I'm speaking full truth. And I have a whole freaking video journey of it. A whole video journey and writings and songs that I composed. Light, specifically, was one song that I composed talking about the shit I was going through. How does my song Light go? Dun, 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 dun. Here I am in this empty room, doom and gloom. That's how it starts. In this empty room. Here I am in this empty room, doom and gloom. That's how the song starts. And it was talking about the shit that I was going through. I don't have a reason to lie. Your ex, I'm sorry, you're my ex. My ex's current spouse told me in a recent text message to testify. Told me to testify. I said, gladly, go ahead and create the court date and make sure you let me know when it is. Because it was a lot of court dates being changed around by the ex and the ex's attorney, and I wasn't notified about shit. Got me reaching out, emailing, and calling the judge's chambers and his executive assistant, asking the question, why wasn't I notified about this court date being changed? Why did nobody tell me? Why didn't I get an email? I said, anytime we have a court hearing, any other time you email me and let me know when it is so that we could sign on to the Blue Jeans hosting site to go to the fucking court hearing. One time I showed up in the physical court itself. I was the only one in the court that day because the judge told me that the only way that my evidence could be seen is if I came to physical court. So I came to physical court, Judge Henderson, with my laptop and all of my evidence that I had. And guess what? The judge did not take any of my evidence into consideration, didn't even look at it. I was representing myself because the ex's attorney, Soraya Vega, said I didn't get a chance to look at any of it, so it's inadmissible. You can't admit it, Judge. You can't admit it because I didn't get a chance to look at it. I said, well, why didn't you get a chance to look at it? I sent it to you 2 weeks ago. I said, it sounds like you're just defending your client, which you're supposed to do, you know, and it also sounds like you're lying. The ex had no evidence, no paper evidence, no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. I had all the fucking evidence. Still do. But because I was representing myself, I wasn't taken seriously. And none of my evidence was taken into consideration because the ex's attorney said to negate it, told the judge negate it. I didn't get a chance to look at it. It's inadmissible. I didn't get a chance to see it. She saw it, but it wouldn't help her client in any way to have all that evidence submitted to the judge. It wouldn't help her case. It's funny too, because when I was representing myself against the ex's attorney, at one point, the judge stopped and said, you need some help? To the ex's attorney. You need some help? You seem like you might need some help. I can give you, a number to an attorney I know so you can have like an extra person help you out. And I guess it embarrassed her because then when I began speaking again, she told me, oh, shut up. You just shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. This is an attorney talking to me this way in a court hearing. Like, you just shut your mouth. It was because I was getting the upper hand. Which some of my evidence was taken into consideration because the judge wanted to know why I was withholding my kids, because I told him I was withholding my kids from being hurt. He wanted to know what it was about. So he viewed some of my evidence, which made him put strict orders against the ex's mother and stepfather to stay away from my kids. In 2 different court hearings, he put strict orders based off the little bit of evidence that he decided to take into account because he wanted to know what the hell, why was I protecting the kids so fiercely? And then he told me I did everything wrong, took all the proper steps and the proper protocol, that shit. But then I got backstabbed. The ex's mother and stepfather were supposed to come to court. They didn't show up. And I feel like they didn't show up because they could not look me in my eyes. They couldn't look me in my face. Kind of like the ex right now. Can't look me in my face. Can't look me in my eyes. Can't even reach out to call. Nothing. That's guilt. But you would rather have a mouthpiece who swear she knows the whole story when I just met the chick literally in 2017, 2018? But for some reason, this person, Ellen Flowers, feel like she know the whole story back from 2002. It's quite interesting. Interesting and very, very strange. Very strange. Her parents didn't come to court because the parents couldn't look me in my eyes because they know that I know what they did to my daughter. That's why they've been hiding from me ever since the day they did what they did to my daughter. Now the ex can't even face me. And everybody wants to make up a story. Oh, Shanda this and Shanda that. That's bullshit. Stephanie Flim James know how much of a sweet person I am, how much of a kind soul I am, how I have never done anything to hurt them. Ashley Flim knows for a fact that I have never done anything to hurt her. Paul Flim, Brenda Flim, even G-Mom, Vivian Brumby, G-Mom. She praised me all the time. As a matter of fact, my ex-mother-in-law used to hate me because of how much her own mother praised me. Whenever her mother would come and kiss my hands and oh, Shanda, you're just so amazing, and Shanda this and Shanda that, my ex-mother-in-law would give me the most evil look. Like she wished that was the praise her mother was giving her. There was a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy, a lot of animosity. I'll never forget when my ex-mother-in-law looked at my newborn son, because I had twins, but particularly my newborn son Laker, and whispered, "I wish you were my son." Now, technically, because was my mother-in-law then, it was her grandson. So why would you say, "I wish you were my son"? Grandson wasn't enough? I can go on, y'all, about a lot of the twisted shit that has occurred, you know. I understand that when you're dealing with narcissistic people, that they like to twist stories to make you look like the crazy one. But there's too much evidence. Like I said, if all of my evidence, that little bit of evidence that the judge took into account, that placed strict orders against them to stay away from my kids, imagine if the judge took all of my evidence into account. What the fuck would have happened? Some folks would have went to jail. Why, do you ask? Forced entry, physical battery, physical abuse, verbal abuse, harassment. The list goes on. So I am appalled by how long this whole thing has been carried out. I am appalled at how, like, how does a person with, like, just steal somebody's biological kids? I'm just trying to understand that, y'all. For the life of me, I am so trying to understand how this person thinks that it is absolutely okay to do what they are doing. And then to have other people speak, or the mouthpiece, because nobody else is speaking up. Nobody else is speaking up. Everybody's still hiding. But to have the current spouse be the mouthpiece, as if that person was there the entire time. You can't interject somebody into a situation like that knows nothing. That person only knows what the hell you said to them or what you told them. That person wants somebody else's life and wants to claim kids that are not hers. Very badly. Very badly. I've never seen anything like it. So Janae Brumby, you need to heal and you need to move on. And in your mind, you might be saying, I moved on. I have a spouse. I have to, people who've been in long-term relationships and had kids and all that stuff, There are some people that jump into relationships right after a long-term relationship. There are a lot of people that actually do that. Okay. You're not healed from the past relationship, from the previous relationship when you do shit like that. All you're doing is you're bringing all of your burdens and all of your issues and all of your hurt and all of your pain and all of that shit into a new relationship with somebody else. And you're dumping it on them. And they may not mind it, you know? Some people find that to be like a thrill. It's like a excitement. Some people like your drama, right? Those people are the ones that like talk about other people, and you know, they may not have much going on in their life, so your drama becomes their life, right? So maybe your current spouse didn't mind you dumping everything on them, but normally when you have come out of a long-term relationship, you don't normally just jump into another relationship that fast, because you're not healed from the previous one. So I found that interesting. That no, I didn't find it interesting. I kind of expected that from you, but because you're the type of person that you don't like to be alone, and it's almost like you never liked being alone, and it almost seemed like it hurt you to be alone with yourself. It's like kind of like if I went out of town on business, and if the kids were home with you and I had to go out of town on business or something, like you would just rush to your parents' house or whatever because you didn't want to be alone with the kids. Like, I don't know, you were deathly afraid to be alone with the kids, or whatever. I don't know what the thing was with that, but I noticed that it was a pattern with you, that you could never be alone. It was almost like you scared yourself or something. That's what it seemed like. I'm just saying, it seemed like you scared yourself being to yourself. So you jumping into a relationship as fast as you did, I expected that. I kind of expected it. Me, on the other hand, I decided to not jump into a relationship. I decided to do some reflection. I decided to, try to understand what went wrong, what happened. When stuff blindsides you and things come at you, especially shit that you never experienced before, right? Like when you've been in a relationship, y'all, with someone for a while, and then like this whole mask falls off and this completely different person appears that you've never seen before. So you can only assume that person was like hiding behind that first mask that came off, right? Like, y'all, I was seeing some shit that I had never seen before, like creepy shit, okay? Like when you think you know who you're sleeping with, when you think you know who you're in a relationship with, when you think a lot of times you have no fucking idea until the breakup happens. And then when the breakup happens, this mask falls off and this completely different person that you never knew existed emerges. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, how did I not see that? How did I not see all of that behind that? Because it was being hidden very well. Either it was being hidden very well, or you still had like naive eyes. That's what I'll say. Like naive eyes where you still weren't paying attention to the red flags, or you still were, in a hopeful, like you were still hopeful that you could change the person, not change the person, but like make them better or heal them, or, some shit like that. Like you just kind of felt like you could love somebody to better, but a lot of times the person just has to love themselves. You know what I mean? Like you can't heal a person. They have to heal themselves. And so when you see the person that you've been with, like you spent so many years with, in a completely different light, and sometimes it's like a creepy light, like a scary, creepy light, like to the point where I was like backing away, like, oh my God, don't touch me. Like, you know, like it was some creepy shit happening. And so it really makes you wonder, how could you have missed all of that? But I think when you love somebody, you're blinded to a lot of stuff that you probably would have noticed if you weren't blinded by the love. You know what I mean? And then when all of that love kind of breaks down, like from the toxicity and the negativity and all of the craziness that happens, once that love starts breaking down and it becomes fragmented, then you kind of start seeing between the veil. You know what I mean? Like the veil gets lifted. And then you kind of start seeing the person, like really seeing the person. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of times it's creepy what you see, what you discover. It's scary, right? And so that's basically what happened. And so I think the ex was pissed that, you know, that I saw. You know, a lot of times people don't like when you see them past the mask. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that the like that I was clearly seen. You know, it couldn't be hidden anymore, covered up, pretended. You know, we could see. And when you really see, when you're not blinded anymore to it, you start looking. It's funny because you look at the person almost like damn, like I don't even want to, because I'm not trying to be shady or mean or nothing, but you do kind of be like, damn, I was that blinded. Like, I don't know, at this point in my life right now, like, I don't even know if I would have hollered at you. Do you know what I'm saying, right? I'm not being shady, and I'm just saying, because it's almost like it's an illusion that breaks. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like rose-colored glasses, how they say you're looking with rose-colored glasses because you're not seeing the complete picture. And it's almost like it's an illusion. It's like mirror magic or some shit, some kind of magic spell or something that's put over you or something like that, right? But then when that whole illusion drops, baby, and that love gets fragmented and the shit starts tearing away and the veil starts getting thinner and that mask or those masks start falling off, oh baby, that's a completely different story. And when they know that you see them, they don't like that shit. They don't like that shit. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And so now you get to a point where now I gotta hurt you, right? And I'm not just gonna hurt you, I'm gonna hurt you through your kids, right? Because I don't care what nobody say, you can't unconditionally love kids if you can leave for 2 weeks straight and not call, nothing, call, text, FaceTime, nothing for 2 weeks straight to check on those babies to see how they're doing. There is no way. There is no way. I would never be away from my babies for 2 weeks straight and not call and check on them every day. How's the babies? What are the babies doing? How the babies? Let me see them. Put them on FaceTime. Let me see. What's going on? How they doing? What did they learn today? Da-da-da-da. I mean, that's me though, right? That's a unconditionally nurturing, loving, caring, empathetic, sympathetic mother. And I know that it's hard to replicate something like that if you've never had it, right? If you don't know what it is, what it looks like. I thought you wouldn't know what it looked like or felt like at that point, because I showed enough of it for a long time. But like I said, only the person can heal themselves. You can't heal them for them. And they have to want to do the work to heal themselves in order to grow. And we're in a situation where one person outgrew the other. And when that happens, when one person outgrows the other, it hurts. For the person that grew, it hurts for them to stay where they are. It hurts. Literally, it hurts. Because if you stay where you are, it's like you're suffocating. Because you've outgrown it. So you're just miserable, right? Or you're going to be miserable. If you stay, you're going to be miserable. If you stay, you're not going to be content. If you stay, you're going to be people pleasing, basically. You're staying to make other people happy, even though you're not. So you're giving up your own happiness for the happiness of other people, right? Which isn't good for your kids to see, which isn't good for your well-being, period, right? I thought about that. I thought about giving up my happiness. But when you left for them 2 weeks, all this happiness just came smacking me in the face. All the things I thought that were lost to me reemerged. My singing came back. I sang all my life. And it was like I was a kid again. And I couldn't even explain what the hell was happening. I didn't know why all that was happening. But it made perfect sense. And my mother even said, you know, it was interesting because my mom was the main one that did not want me to be in a relationship with my ex. My mom wanted us to not be together. My mom didn't want the marriage to happen. My mom didn't even come to my wedding. My grandmama did. My grandmama Willie Mae, my grandmama came. But my grandma also unconditionally loves me, right? So my grandma came to my civil union wedding union, but my mom didn't. My mom was adamantly against the entire thing. And my mom basically condemned me for like 10 years straight, right? And the only time my mom came around me and the ex was after I gave birth to my babies, my twins, Winter and Laker. But the whole time my mom was ghost. 10 years I was condemned. 10 years I was condemned by mother. She didn't come around. Like, I think she came to our first apartment one time. And while she was there, she was just, and the only reason why she came is because she was with one of her friends who was actually cool, you know, with me, my Aunt Leola. Well, I call her aunt even though they were friends, but you know, I grew up with her, so I called her my Aunt Leola. May she rest in peace, because she recently passed a few months ago. But my Aunt Leola came to my wedding too. But anyway, I love you, Aunt Leola. So Anyway, so I had a lot of people be there in place of my mother, and my father wasn't there either. He said, but he didn't have an issue with it. He said he wanted to come. Something happened. He just couldn't make it. I think he was, I don't know, somewhere in New York. I think Rochester, New York, something like that. Something happened where my dad couldn't come, but he wanted to come. He didn't have any issue with it. But yeah, so, but my mom just adamantly said, no, I ain't going. Right. So that's just proof that my mom did not want us together. But what's interesting is that when I told my mom, you know, about everything that was happening with the toxicity, the negativity, and the, you know, after the poisoning of my daughter and, you know, all this stuff, because I was getting myself back, you know what I mean? Like after, you know, being just disorientated and traumatized from what happened to my child and everything that was transpiring, and then having the ex leave for 2 weeks straight, and then me getting my kid self back and me singing again and being happy again. And I said, Mom, I'm so happy. I said, I don't know why I'm so happy, but I'm so happy. I said, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just, you know, be happy with myself and my kids. And I remember my mom had visited our new house, our second house. And if you want to see pictures of my first home and my second home, you can go to my Wind Lake Real Estate channel. It's showed as a feature channel on this page, and it shows you pictures of me remodeling and renovating my first home and the second home and all that stuff. So, because I'm a real estate agent, a real estate license, but my dream is renovations, right? I want to buy properties, flip properties, you know, renovate, design, all that good stuff. Anyway, so my mom took a look around my second home, and she was like, you want to leave all this? And I said, what? And she was just like, you know, you want to leave all this? And so that's when I recognized that there are some people who will settle, right? Who will choose to not be as happy as they can be for the convenience of material things, right? And if anybody knows me, they know that I am not a materialistic person, right? Like, I'm just so not. You know what I mean? Like, if I was a materialistic person, every time I got paid or whatever, I would go and buy a bunch of clothes or jewelry or just shit that I know that I don't need, right? But I don't do that, right? Which is how I'm probably able to keep sustaining myself the way that I sustain myself, because I'm disciplined and I budget myself in a way that helps me, right? Right? Even though I'm still not in the best situation, clearly I'm not. If you look at my videos, then clearly you know that, right? But I'm maintaining, right? And I damn sure don't look like what I've been through and what I'm going through, right? I don't have the big bags and dark circles under my eyes that my ex-mother-in-law wished for me to have. No, my cheekbones are still very cheeky and perky. My skin is still very tight and even toned. I'm still very energetic. Still have a light in my eyes. I'm not cold-hearted, because I would never dare allow anyone to turn my heart cold. You don't have that much power over me. I know that's the kind of power that you wanted to have over me. Me speaking to the ex and other folks that wished harm on me for my kids. No, you can't turn my heart cold. I don't give you that much power. You don't deserve it at all. So even though y'all hearts are like ice blocks that you refuse to melt because you refuse to do the work to heal from your wounds that you have with yourself and with others, I can't make you do it. I can't make you do it, and I can't rush you to do it. But you are going to stop holding my kids hostage from me. You are going to stop holding my biological kids hostage from me. I will not stop talking about it. I will not stop talking about it. I will not stop bringing your names up. I will not stop filing motions every 3 months to the court. I will not stop calling the police. I will not stop. I will not stop. Because there is no reason why my kids should be withheld from me. No reason at all. All because you, okay? All because you are a coward. Too coward to face me. All of y'all. Y'all are cowards. Because you can't even face me. You can't talk to me on the phone. You're not even looking at me through the phone. That's just a conversation. No, you're mad because I'm telling on y'all. That's why y'all mad. Y'all mad because I'm speaking the truth. Because I'm telling on y'all. Because I am publicly telling on y'all. That's why you mad. So you're using that anger to really fuel the hatred. Oh, really F her now. Really hide the kids now. Yeah. That's what you think. Until that light y'all asses completely the fuck up. And it will. Oh, it will. Mark my words. Anyway, I'm going to get off this live. I've been on here long enough. I missed all of this conversation going on in here, y'all. I missed all of this. But anyway. You asking me a bunch of questions. Anyway, thank y'all for joining All Baddies Got a Story. Please subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed to the channel so that you can be notified when I go live and of my other content. Also check out my other feature channels like my artistry page at that girl Shanda. My podcast, I have a few episodes in my podcast playlist folder on this channel. If you vibe with it, please click the link to my podcast. The link is in the profile. Subscribe to that. Like and share the video so others can see it. What else? Yeah, y'all, I just had to get that off my chest because I'm just like y'all are so immature. Like it sucks to have to deal with immature people that just are just all in their feelings and shit. And so they choose their emotions and their ego. You know what I mean? Just like, well, I'm mad and I have hatred in my heart and you hurt me and this and this and this and that and this and that. And it's just like, actually, I didn't hurt you. The only hurt that you could honestly say that you experienced from me is the breakup. And honestly, I understand. I'm a good woman. I know I'm a good woman. I know I'm a beautiful soul. I know I'm all the things that little kids would love in a mommy. I know that. I know that. And you know it too. Because you didn't want to let it go. Clearly, you still don't want to let it go. Because you're still holding on. When you don't have to. Because you're supposed to be happy where you are right now, right? Right? So anyway, this whole conversation, y'all, in a nutshell, if you can relate, is a big lesson on why healing your inner wounds matter. And how you can be affecting kids, innocent kids, vulnerable kids who have nothing to do with your inner wounds. Stop bleeding on the babies. Stop bleeding on the babies. Because they didn't cause your inner wounds. Take that shit up with your mother. Take that shit up with your father or your stepfather or your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, whoever. Take it up with them. Because innocent kids that come into the world ain't got shit to do with your hurt. But you hurting them really, really shows what kind of person you are. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And this shit ain't over, but I'm sure you know that. Thanks for watching All Baddies Got a Story. Subscribe, y'all, and I'll talk to you on the next live, all right? Bye.